Hello guys, how are you? We will be discussing about JavaScript programming, and of course we'll be discussing not only to display the hello world, but this is to extend what we have discussed last time. If you were able to watch my previous video, then I think you will understand this. So our topic for today is about JavaScript factory. So what does it mean? So if you're creating JavaScript factory, you're creating your own functions. So this has relations to your constructor, or creating a function. But this time around, we are using the factory functions to return the object. So let us start with our basic programming for this topic. So what will be the first agenda is, of course, we'll create an OOP for JavaScript. So OOP stands for Object-Oriented Programming. So please check and watch my previous tutorial for the OOP. Now, I'm using here the online editor for JavaScript programming. At the same time, if you want to start with your JavaScript programming for OOP, you can use class and then let's say data1. So this is your first steps. Now, what's next is, of course, instead of creating our instances, or just like in Java programming, we're gonna use the constructor. So this is where we put the parameter for the program. So you're not allowed now to expand or to infuse your variable at the top, but instead you put here inside the constructor. I am creating this program so that you will have an eye opener how to create your factory later on. And of course, in factory programming, we are using, of course, the objects, and we are not allowed to use the new statement. So let us expand this example. Okay, let's say we have here the constructor for the name, and we have here for the age. Okay, now we'll have to create this argument name equals to name. Oh, sorry, and this point age. This is the property and age. Now we will what you call this, construct our methods to display or to return this following parameters. So let's say display, okay, display one. So we don't have that parameters inside display. This will serve as our method, and we're gonna display its console. Okay, these are the records, or this is the record. Okay, what happened after that? So we'll have to display it first. Display the following console.log. I'm sorry, forgot to put the log right there. And then we're gonna use this point name class. Remember about the concatenation, and we have here this point age. So there you have it. So we have here the following, what you call these field names for field members, name and age. And we have here the method. Now what happened is to create our program here. This is the main program. Now, if you are using another file, and of course you need to infuse this in your my hypertext markup language, you can use the image or the script search command. Now we'll call this program. Now here we will use the new statement to call the program at the top. So we will use data or let data. Let's say 101 equals to new. There you have it. So we are using the new. So we are returning here, of course, the following field members. And then we will call, of course, the methods of display1 to display the name and the age. So let's say data1, and then I will write my name, Arnold. And because we have two parameters here, age, I will put here 51. And then what's next? So what's the next procedure? Because we have here, of course, the data1 as our variable, and we're gonna return and of course display the following field members. So we're gonna use what data 101 and call display what 1. All right. So there you have it. So we have here a very simple OOP program in JavaScript. Now let us run the program. Once you run the program, so we have here Arnold 51. Now, why is it we are explaining about the OOP? Because we have the constructor. So the constructor is like akin to your class, but instead of using the class to our constructor, because it is already understandable that constructor is the same to the class name. But in JavaScript, you need to write the constructor as a statement. So what's next is we're gonna create our own factory function. So how to do that? Okay, we will start at the bottom, right here. Okay, we create our factory functions for JavaScript. So we're gonna start with, let's say, function, let's say records. This is the name of the function. records or record 1. This is to avoid any duplication. Let's say I have here name and I have here the age. Okay, I'll just change this name 1, age 1. This is to avoid conflict. So what's next is, well, of course, because the purpose of the factory functions in JavaScript is to create, a single type of function, and then you can use that all over again instead of code, creating complex logic, and you can put that in another function. So here we're gonna use return, because in factory we are what, returning the objects. So you know all that the objects are the following. That's part of the field members, right? So return is like example we have here name 1, and then we have here the parameter of name 1. This will return the following name 1 to be fetched here inside the record 1 function. So we have here h1. Remember, we don't use anymore the this property. Instead, we'll force we just call the variable. Okay, we don't use this property anymore. So we have here h1, and then there you have it. And then after that, of course, we can also write our function right here. So what's that function? Let's say we have two dips, and then dips, and then we have here the function. So we have here the functions for the dips. Now we can infuse the dips function inside our parameters right here. Okay. Next is we need to what? Let's say console.log. Okay. This is the record. Okay. And then we put here console.log, and then, well, of course, this is the time that we need to display the following. So we have here hello. We can put our own expression right here, plus, and then we have here name plus your age is, okay, so we have here plus, and then plus age. All right, there you have it. So what's next? And then we have to close the program. Okay. You have to close the program right here. Oops, where is that program? All right, we're gonna close the program. So this is the pair of that, and this is the pair of the return function. So we have to put here a semicolon as continuation of the program. Now let us check if this works. So this is the part of the factory functions in JavaScript, and we have the following items right here. The field members name 1, h1, and we have here the function inside this factory function. So we have two parameters name 1 and h1. So therefore we put here name 1 plus your age is what? h1. Okay. So what's next? We have to run the program, and then let's say let var1 equals to. So we don't need to use the new, but again, we need only to focus more to the factory function. So let us create a factory here. So Arnold, and then 51. After that, well, of course, now inside that code, well, I can incorporate this inside the program. I'll change this to dips 1. This is just to avoid any duplication. And then var1, and I'll put there what first call the method inside that factory function. So we have the method here. So if you compare this function to the OOP program at the top, so it's totally different, because here we are using the new statement to create the constructor. But here, we are not creating the constructor, but we need only to return the object. Okay, when we run the program, okay, let us check that at the top. All right. So we have the error right here. Let us check. I think syntax error is here. Okay, let us check that. Hello plus name 1 plus, of course, this is the error. We forgot to push the plus. Okay. Now when we run the program again, I think there's an error here. Let's check it later on. Okay, let us check it. Okay, we'll find the error. Okay. Well, let us check that. Let us make this bigger so that we can check the error. Okay, we forgot to put the double quotation in this string area. Let us run the program again. And then we have here, of course, another error. Let var record. Okay, let us check what is that. Record 1. So many errors. So this is the output. Now this is the previous output from our OOP. This is the record at the top. So we have here the following. We have the constructor at the top, okay, data, and we have two parameters here, name A's that will return the field members in the program. And then we call again this method to display it at the top. Of course, we use the new statement here, and of course invoke the name of the class data1 and provide the two parameters. And of course, to return the functions, to return the statement, we use these methods. Okay, how about here in the factory, I mean. So in this factory function, we create a function with two parameters, and then we use return value because we are here to return the objects. So these are the objects name 1 and h1. And inside that functions, we have here the following method. We have the method here, the this one. And as you can see, this is if you were able to watch my previous tutorial, well, of course, we are studying about the pairing values. This is the key and the value. And we have, we can use also the parameters of the key and of course create a value by means of creating a functions, and this will be part of the method. So here we return the objects of name1 and of course the h1. Now what happened if you run the program? If we run the program, of course we need first to invoke, we need to inject first the variable and of course to create a record. So we just create a record here. We don't use the new statement anymore and call the class, call the factory functions of this record 1 and of course display the value. So we have here Arnold 1 and 51. So there you have it. So if you like this channel, please don't forget to share and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.